Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Allincrypto here, and today we are going to do a bit of a different video. We are going to be looking at some sort of geopolitical things going on right now in regards to BRICS, and we are going to be relating it to the crypto space, namely Chainlink, who actually back in 2020 were featured in a BRICS article that was essentially titled De-risking and De-dollarizing. And they mentioned Chainlink and how actually Chainlink may play a role along with Ethereum in a way of moving away from a dollar and a Swift-based system. We know that Chainlink, however, are actually partnered with Swift. So what does this mean? We're going to be trying to break it all down in this video. What was the sort of inkling or the initial idea behind this video? Well, today we have had some absolutely huge news in regards to the BRICS nations. The BRICS is essentially a rival to the Western world and to the G7. And actually today you had the announcement that Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, and Iran are all set to join the BRICS. Now, the BRICS consisted of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They now have, essentially through these new members, I believe it's around about 80% of the global world's oil production. Okay, and oil, I know we're moving away from oil and we're moving towards, net negative and all this stuff, but oil as it stands right now is in literally everything and is really a driver of wealth in the economy. It's a tax, it's in everything. It's in plastics, it's in it's food production, everything. And this is huge. And actually the fact that we know they are actively trying to move away from the West and from the dollar and the constraints that it puts on them. It's a very interesting one because if you understand the global financial system, you'll understand that it is literally the dollar. Okay, the dollar is a poison pill that everyone has taken to a degree, and a move away from that is something that it's kind of like the reason why everyone accepted going off the gold standard. Because when France said to America, "Look, we want our gold back," America kind of said, "We haven't got it," and there was a realization that actually there was more. The gold wasn't there to back the dollar currency, and that's why we ended up on a fiat standard. Everyone has taken the dollar poison pill, and the dollar is the financial system. It is the fiat global system, and a move away from that would, I think, be extremely scary and cause a lot of uncertainty. But BRICS essentially have officially now onboarded these individuals. This means that by 2024, or as it stands right now, BRICS is essentially, in regards to GDP, at purchasing power parity, worth more than the G7, the West. And they are actively trying to move away from the dollar. So the interesting thing about this is GDP is essentially weighed in dollars. So it's a bit of a kind of conundrum, I think, in regards to, they're trying to de-dollarize, but the system's a dollar-based one, and what do we then go on to? What's that store of value? People have said gold, some people have said Bitcoin, some people have said it's going to be a basket of commodities. The answer I can give is an honest one, and that is the fact that I really don't know, but I do know that there is a real shift happening and a real awakening, not just externally from the West, but within, to the dollar and the constraints that it puts over everyone, and the power that it gives to a very small group of individuals. So what does this mean for crypto? Well, this is where we're going to link it into the crypto space. I forgot to show this as well. This is just in, according to Watcher Guru, BRICS to officially abandon US dollar for trade settlements. Now, this has been spoken about a lot. The dollar today is actually doing quite well. We do daily cryptocurrency market updates where we try and look at the crypto market. You guys know that we got long at the start of the year. We were out in 2022. We literally mitigated a lot of the bear market, only to get in you know, at the start of the year. And we think that crypto is going to do quite well, but at the moment, in the short term, it's really going to depend, short term, couple of weeks, on what the dollar does and the yields and everything associated. So there's a lot going on with the dollar, and this is an element to it. This kind of geopolitical standing power that it has. You know, the world, China, for example, has actively tried to get away and been selling dollar debt. And this is a theme with the BRICS nation. You know, they're all really trying to move away from it. So what could this mean for crypto? Well, there was an article that's been circulating again. I'm not 100% sure why. Back in December 2022. And this was on the BRICS Journal of Economics. And the article is titled "On De-Risking and De-Dollarizing Intra-BRICS Trade Via Smart Contracts." We're going to relate this to Chainlink in just a second, but you'll see the link to Chainlink within this. So let's go ahead and pull this up. This is page 63. Key requirements and stages of smart contract implementation results. To ensure comprehensive, large-scale implementations of smart contracts and distributed ledgers for such an all-in-one platform for BRICS, traders independent from existing Western platforms, and to build new intra-BRICS exchange to de-risk trade finance, a pilot step can begin with an intra-BRICS trade finance smart contract fulfillment system distributed app, aka DApp, as blockchain apps are known, that replace traditional letters of credit between merchants and banks and use automatic production and shipment data rather than traditional bills and ladding as a source of fulfillment verification. In parallel, another smart contract-based distributed app for facilitating direct intrabank transactions should be developed, replacing traditional correspondent accounts based bilaterally bank loans with decentralized smart contracts for intrabank transfers for trade finance in accordance with the corresponding NDBCRA currency swap limit. Ideally, once these two pilot systems are up and running, both systems should be prevented from using SWIFT or Western transfer systems to ensure financial services security free from external interference. Instead, they become operational, intrawoven with intra-BRICS payments and settlement systems currently under development, integrated using Ethereum's middleware such as Chainlink to connect the BRICS private distributed ledger network, either developed in-house or with tailored application layers on an existing open source private enterprise Ethereum platform such as Quorum or Hyperledger BESU. Once such an integration provides reliable, parallel distributed apps, should be designed on the BRICS private distributed ledger to establish intra-BRICS only exchanges for currency, options, and commodity futures associated with trade transactions. Such an exchange will serve as a preferred market for de-risking national currency settlements within the framework of BRICS trade finance, and will have restrictive access to prevent speculative manipulation of both currencies and commodity rates. The key requirements for such an exchange are, and then it goes on to list a number of things. Now, this has been doing the rounds on Twitter, of course. It's exceptionally exciting, certainly with all the big news that we've had from BRICS. Are BRICS going to look to implement public blockchains in one way or the other? Well, I think they are. And we've been talking about empire cryptos that seek to update the traditional financial system. And we've been talking about sort of rebellion cryptos that were really born like Bitcoin and Ethereum to challenge and to disrupt and not just disrupt, because the empire cryptos are also doing that, but become an alternative to these traditional financial instruments. You've got to remember that Bitcoin was solely created by Satoshi to have a peer-to-peer system to transact. and to remove that middleman in the form of e-commerce and the fact that it laid with institutions. Smart contracts, a lot of the platforms have furthered that endeavor, and actually they are certainly on the radar of the likes of BRICS, which is set based on GDP, which is in dollars, so there's a bit of hypocrisy there and kind of irony, I guess, to be larger than the G7 nations. And I believe that this is actually without the implementation of Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt, Ethiopia, and Argentina. You also had, this again is from 2020, the end of 2020, so coming into 2021, this article that was also published by BRICS, and you can see you've got Chainlink actually here. And this is a bit of a representation in regards to how this essentially works. The interesting thing they did mention Chainlink in that article, and BRICS has mentioned Chainlink by name, and they've also looked at Ethereum and how you'd kind of interact with it. The interesting thing is, though, they do mention in the article that they wouldn't want an interference with SWIFT and kind of the Western remittance systems. And of course, we know that Chainlink are indeed partnered with SWIFT, and ultimately could that hinder their involvement in whatever the BRICS are planning on doing? I think that my best take on what the BRICS are going to move towards is something that is definitely going to use DLT, distributed ledger, and likely involve public blockchains. Now, whether they tokenize gold or whatever it is, this basket of commodities through it, and then thus you can gain access to it through the internet of value, through, the world can gain access to BRICS, but they can have their kind of own closed door with their own system, but it will be a system that interacts with the blockchain space generally, and maybe Chainlink facilitate that. I don't know. But it is very interesting and certainly something to watch. I would love to know your thoughts and comments in the comment section. You did have some, not sure who this was from, but this was a couple of days ago. This was essentially allegedly leaked in regards to Chainlink. I am not supposed to be here, let alone release this information. My wife works for Chainlink Labs, and last night she slipped up a little information about the up-and-coming Chainlink Smart Com. Apparently, the beta version for CCIP was all a front, just to distract us. Many people think, oh, it's just going to be a public mainnet release. Nope, Swift is going to be officially connecting Web3 infrastructure to the banks that were involved in the previous testing. This is exactly why Sergey had said right now in that one speech a few months ago at Consensus, if you don't know what I am talking about, then you are not a Link Marine. The whole TradFi world is about to be shook. No one is expecting this, even in crypto, with their Link Marine lives and echo chamber antics, oracles not needed. It goes on to say a number of other things. I personally think that with Link's price action, it's like a spring. It's really been compressing, and you're going to get a huge. It's been compressing now for 470 days. I've been loading up. I have no. And if you guys want to find out a little bit more about my portfolio, do consider becoming a patron. But I've been loading up on Link because the inevitability is that you are going to get that massive move to the upside eventually. I think Link smashes new all-time highs eventually. And he's going to play a serious role, not just within the crypto space, which he already does, but within the kind of TradFi merging of these two worlds, I guess. And there's still a lot of value to come into the crypto space. So let me know what you think about all this. Am I just being totally silly in regards to thinking that the BRICS nations are going to use blockchain? And what do you think about this as a whole, It's very, very interesting. Something that we're going to keep up to date on. The dollar has been ripping in the face of this. Remember, we're kind of short-term, a bit unsure about the dollar and looking for levels for it to take or to invalidate, to kind of set the direction of the crypto space short-term. But there's a lot of this sort of geopolitical games going on within that. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Hopefully you found this informative and interesting. If you did, a like is always appreciated. So as a comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.